Hi peeps, Tersse back in the old squat box once again. Oh, pardon me. Whew. Shit. Happens sometimes. I don't know if it's dust in the air or cat hair. Anyway, yeah, okay. What's this video about? It's about my lack of interesting shit to watch on the internet at the moment. So I've reverted to a free TV channel where I can go and scan 140 different bloody TV series from around the world to watch, and at present I've finished all the other ones I was watching. I finished True Blood, I finished Homeland, I finished, what was the other one I was watching? I've watched all, some of them only get 2 or 3 series, some of them get 6 series, and I watched them all, I ran it. And then I found this Vampire Diaries. Oh, woo! Oh, fucking Vampire Diaries, more vampires. Oh, that's great, except it's like a teeny, romantic teen drama horror type thing. And it took me 22 episodes before I actually started to think, this isn't a bad story. It's just the acting is ridiculously teen. And I remember being a teen. I don't remember being so, emotional about everything in my life. I've got to say though, I didn't have vampires in my town. I wasn't involved with them, and then, werewolves didn't turn up, and it's like True Blood. If I lived in a town like that, where there was vampires and werewolves and magical alien gods turning up and converting the whole town into dancing, would you call them, naturalists with a very, very high libido. I mean, I would probably move. This is probably why people leave small towns in America. They're full of fucking vampires and werewolves, and teenagers greeting all the time, or so exuberantly happy and in love that they don't consider anybody else's feelings except themselves. So yeah, I can totally understand. I totally get it. Yeah, the American culture, bang, that's it. All the adults are trying to kill the vampires and werewolves and protect their children, and other children are trying to get drunk and stoned and fuck each other. You know what I mean? And they'll get one new boyfriend or girlfriend a month or something. And basically that's the way they want for their lives. And I'm thinking, that's not the teenage years that I remember, and it's not the adult years that I remember. I'm 52 now. I've never killed a vampire or a werewolf in my life. I was a teenager, and I never really had that teenage angst I ever see in any of these teen romantic horror movies ever. And it's like, what is this the basis of human experience? This is the only thing we can write about. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I liked True Blood. It was really good, because that was sort of like a sort of mild porn, horror, drama, comedy, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I can get into that. There's lots there to have fun with. You know what I mean? But I've got to say, Vampire Diaries, I'm just 22 episodes, and I'm just now beginning to be interested in the story, And by the way, it's taken me 3 days to get through 22 episodes, because I would watch like 5 or 6, and I go, I've got to turn this off, man. Although there's nothing else on TV, I'd rather go and watch another QI that I've already seen, or I've got news for you, you know what I mean? For the second or third time, than watch another episode of Vampire Diaries. But I persevered, and eventually there is a decent storyline in it. Don't get me wrong, I mean, most of the twists and turns in the storyline are very much like True Blood, which I must say, True Blood, if I was living in that small town where you've got vampires, werewolves, witches, ghosts, spirits, gods, you know what I mean, I think I would move to New York, where at least I've got a chance of not bumping into one of them in the street, Whereas in these small towns, you can't help but be talking to a vampire or a werewolf or a, you know, a witch, or, you know what I mean? Because fucking every third person in the town is one, you know, according to Vampire Diaries anyway, and you know, True Blood as well. You know what I mean? It just, I think these people with these stories, surely there's more to it than just using these, you know, these hooks, you know what I mean, to get people to watch, you know, the vampire, when it's not about sucking blood, it's about sucking cock, you know what I mean? Basically that's what it is. It's all sex, there's very little violence, it's all sex, and then in Vampire Diaries, because it's for teens, well, you never actually see nipples, whereas in True Blood they showed quite a lot of nipples, you know what I mean? You know, in Vampire Diaries, please, you know, please, just forget the sex thing, you know what I mean? Forget the teenage angst, write a good fucking story, you know what I mean? But I suppose it was sort of targeted at the, you know, the sort of like 15 to 22-year-old, you know, that was the sort of, you know, agenda they had, you know, get those people to watch TV, you know, so we've got to make it, you know, yeah. And, you know, let's face it, most people didn't watch it on TV, they watched it on the fucking iPod or the fucking PC or the laptop, you know what I mean? Like I do, you know. But I'm interested in how the story turns out. But I mean, I just, some of the, why did they have to bring werewolves in here? You know what I mean? I mean, you've got witches and vampires, for God's sake. Do you really need to add werewolves? And this is only the first fucking series, you know what I mean? Well, the first series, and then maybe 2 episodes into the second series, you know. Now we'll get werewolves, you know. It's like, please, you know what I mean? Do you have to bring every magical, you know, are we going to have unicorns? Are we going to have unicorns? That's what I'm asking, you know. When are the unicorns going to come in? And what about hobbits and dragons and you know orcs and ogres and you know the little people, the little pushins, you know what I mean? And the fairies. When are we going to? Oh, that's right. True about the fairies as well, man. It's like you can only go so far in your disbelief before you start to say, yeah, they're just making shit up because they're running out of ideas now. You know what I mean? Basically, what you want to do, if you're running out of ideas, you sack your fucking writers and hire a bunch of new writers, you know what I mean? But tell them the premise is vampires. That's what it's about, vampires. Please don't bring me any of your Bigfoot fucking nonsense, you know what I mean? I don't want any Bigfoot coming in, but I'm sure somewhere down the road in this Vampire Diaries, you're going to have Bigfoot coming in as well, you know what I mean? Bigfoot and probably aliens, you know what I mean? I don't know, because I'm only starting the second series of Vampire Diaries, but I'm looking at thinking, True Blood went down that road of taking so many different magical things and throwing it in and trying to match up. I just forgot the storyline, and I was just there for the soft porn. That was, I was only watching it for the soft porn, you know. Vampire Diaries, there isn't any soft porn, you know. Well, you've got kissing, you know, people in bras, but you know, I can go to the beach and see that, you know what I mean? So they're not covering the soft porn. All they're covering is teenage angst and lots of good music, I suppose, if you're like, you know, 18, 20, you know, oh yeah, oh, I remember that song, oh, I loved that song, oh, when I was kissing Bobby at the fucking, you know, the Bobby Sox fucking parade in my small town, oh, that song was playing on the broadcast system. Yeah, I get that, you know. It's all about teen angst and teen this and teen that, and it's like teens don't know shit. They probably don't care about any of what the writers are writing, which is why the writing is terrible, because all they're interested in is, oh, I remember when my heart was broken, and I remember when my best friend cheated on me with my boyfriend, you know, all that. That's what this is about, man. It's not about movie making, it's not about TV, it's not about writing, you know what I mean? It's not about a script, it's not about acting. Anybody can do that bullshit, you know. Take any 15 teenagers and throw them in front of a camera, take them to kiss each other, bang, you know. Tell them to say, just say these words on the card. You know what I mean? You've got a movie, you know what I mean? Fucking hell. But, I've got to say, I wonder why it ran for 6 fucking series, you know. I'm only in series 2, there's 6 series of this, you know. And I'm wondering, did this come out before True Blood? Did True Blood steal the idea of vampires and a vampire falling in love with a human from Vampire Diaries, or did Vampire Diaries steal it from True? I don't really know. I don't know which one started first, you know. But I know which one I like better. I like fucking True Blood better because it's more gritty and real. The dialogue is better. The storylines are better up to a point. When the fairies came in, I thought, oh my god, oh, that's ridiculous, you know. But also in Vampire Diaries, why does the lead girl have to turn out to be the daughter adopted from a vampire, who's also whose dad turns out to be the most vampire hater, and yet you find the vampire and the vampire hater working together later on against everybody else, and it's like, what the fuck? Do these people understand what storylines mean? Or are they just fucking throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks, you know what I mean? Oh, anyway, Vampire Diaries, it's what I'm watching at the moment. I'm not happy with it. You know, it gets very boring after about 2 or 3 episodes in a row, and then I've got to go and do something else and get drunk and, you know, watch some real soft porn and, you know, like BBC 24-hour news, or, you know, MSNBC, you know, Rachel Maddow. Anyway, strange your van, motherfuckers. Vampire Diaries. Don't know how it lasted 6 fucking series, because after 1 and a bit, it's like, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. Should sack all those fucking writers and get some decent writers in, and I'm not saying the actors are bad, they're just being told to portray particularly stupid characters, you know. And then there's no continuity, you know. Certain vampires do this, certain vampires do that, and then a vampire with a certain character, it changes, and then the girlfriend's saying no and the boyfriend is saying yes one episode, and then the next episode the boyfriend's saying no and she's saying yes, and it's like, then it goes back, and it's like, it doesn't have to be a back and forward tug of war, you know, like that, you know. It just, and some of these episodes are supposed to be one day and the next day. So one day he's for it, she's against it. Next day she's for it, he's against it. You know, it's like, people don't change like that, back and forward, day to day. It takes weeks to fucking make up. You know what I mean? You can't just walk in and say, oh, I'm sorry, and everybody believes you. People get all uppity and in your face and shit and don't want to talk to you for fucking ages. You know what I mean? It takes more than a day. It takes more than 24 hours to sort something that went wrong in a relationship. But it needs to happen in this episode, it needs to happen. They just say, oh, okay, they talk to each other and that's it, it's done, you know. Suddenly angst teenagers act like grown up adults, and it's like weird as shit, you know. Sorry, you fucking motherfuckers. You can go and watch them all if you want. They're all available on the internet, and I'm thinking there's a more deeper story behind it all. I'm just wondering why they couldn't make the story more important than the individual occurrences within each episode, you know, in order just to have them kiss and make up with sweet music playing in the background. But apparently that's what the whole thing is about. It's about seeing teenagers kiss with rising present day music in the background. It's all emotional and relative to the situation. Oh, the iPod has got a lot to fucking answer for. That's all I can say. So anyway,